Big Zay.
Morning, Brad.
Morning, boys. What's going on?
Well, you're all over it. You've got the story. It is Packers week already. The game is on a Saturday, so there's not really enough time to talk about it. Who you taking?
Oh, there's plenty of time. Plenty of time to dissect this game. And I guess a little bit of surprise that it's going to be played on Saturday. But when you look at the West Coast teams that have got to travel all the way to the East Coast, I think in terms of keeping things equitable, difficult to put them on a short week when they've got to go all the way across the country.
What did you make of Ben Johnson's post-game demeanor, Brad? And were you surprised that he was more unhappy with the offense than a defense that continues to be a sieve?
Yeah, I think he got more questions about the offense than the defense, right? I think that that's probably why it looks that way, because there should be concern over both. The defense has not played well. I don't think that's a stunner when you look at the personnel that they started the season with, when you look at some of the injuries that they've been forced to deal with during the course of the season. The offense here at the end of the season, especially in the first half, is a real problem. Like, if you look at the last 5 games and go ahead and take out that Cleveland game, right, because the Browns won't be participating in the tournament, and there's no Shooter Sanders that's going to be playing starting quarterback in the playoffs. If you strip out that Cleveland game and look at 2 games versus Green Bay, 1 versus San Francisco, and then yesterday's game against Detroit, Bears in the first half, 3 for 19 on third down. In the first half, they've run a total of 87 plays in those 4 games. The opponents, 158 plays. In the first half, the Bears have held the ball in those 4 games for 42 minutes, 11 seconds. So you're talking about an average of less than 11 minutes per first half. So they haven't been able to stay on the field in the first 30 minutes of these football games. And so the defense is forced to go back out there again. And it's a minor miracle that down 14-3 at halftime at Green Bay, they had a shot to win that game at the end. Down 6-0 at halftime at home against Green Bay, they did win that ball game. Down 28-21 at halftime at San Francisco, only because TJ had the pick 6. They had a shot to win that one at the end, and then trailing Detroit 13-0 at halftime. They had an opportunity there in the final 2 minutes, came up short.
So why has the first half been such a struggle? Why have the plays that you work on, that you practice, the foretold plays, why are they no longer working?
Yeah, that's a great question, and one that they're probably scrambling to get an answer to themselves at Howells Hall this week. Because if it was simple, they would have had this cleaned up by now. And offense has been side of the ball. So that going back to what you guys originally posed to me, I think that probably explains to a degree why coach certainly seemed more upset with the performance of the offense than he did the defense.
Brad, Jaquan Brisker said the Bears were out-schemed on defense, playing too much man coverage. You look at the corners, and they didn't have good days. Nashawn Wright, a little too soft. Jalen Johnson, a semblance of his former self. Where was Tyreek Stevenson active but not even on the field? Is he injured? Was that another reason why he didn't play? Because I think they could have used him.
Yeah, that's a great question. They were not great. Nobody in the secondary covered themselves with any glory. They didn't play man well. They're not playing zone well. If you're just going to sit back in zone, Jared Goff's going to pick you apart. I think some of those man instances came when they were bringing pressure, and they didn't get home. They did not get home enough against Jared Goff, and I think everything's got to be on the table here for the Packers, but. Tyreek Stevenson the answer, or are we just? It could be right, or are they shuffling deck chairs? I don't know. Nahshon Wright has come up with huge plays this season for the Bears, but he's just so linear and stiff that in short area movement coming out of breaks that could be really problematic for him. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson had another really rough day at the office covering guys. That's and unfortunately left with a concussion. But there was this massive celebration after he had a couple sacks in his first few games. He was real active around the line of scrimmage, and I think we've seen for a month now anyway that when he's in coverage, it's a problem. So Kyler Gordon, I would expect them to activate the window for him to return to the practice field again from IR perhaps this afternoon, if not maybe tomorrow morning. And you hope that despite playing only 117 snaps this season, that he can help make a difference against Jordan Love and the Packers.
This segment with Brad Biggs is sponsored by Estwing Professional Tools, made in the USA for over 100 years, estwing.com. So I think there is this sense of people are going to come back and they're going to be great and everything's going to be seashells and balloons. What's the reality of that? We've seen various people attempt to come back and go back down again. We've seen people come back but not be the same entity they once were. How do you deal with the whole rust and rest thing with various people, and how does it apply to Green Bay?
Well, I mean, because I think the chances of Gardner Johnson coming out of concussion protocol in a short week are those are up in the air, right? We try to avoid speculating on injuries, but they need Kyler Gordon. They need him. We saw the backup option was Jalen Jones. They're late in the ball game after CJ left. They need Kyler Gordon. They've got to sort out if Tyreek's part of the mix. They've got to tie in the pass rush with the coverage. They've got to control the ball with their running offense, right? They've got to got to try to wear down the Packers a little bit, and they've dropped 2 in a row. The defense hasn't looked good, as we talked about. The offense getting off to just terrible starts here of late, but they were 0-2 to begin the season as well. Like, they finished the year how they ended it. And things, you guys, Dustin's probably got the audio during week 3 talking about, is same old Bears. I don't know. Here we go again. It could be, and what they do, they won 9 of their next 10 games. I don't know how they're going to respond here. I'm pretty confident, though, that by the end of the night Saturday, we'll either say, well, this was easy to forecast because of the way the team kind of stumbled at the end of the season, or this was easy to forecast. It's been a good team, and Week 18 results in this instance really don't matter.
Do you believe
we'll see which way we go.
Do you believe the Bears are a better team than the Packers without Micah Parsons?
Oh, I don't know. They got outplayed by the Packers without Micah Parsons in the last meeting.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears won the game. No question about that. That's the bottom line. I think the Packers outplayed them in that ball game. With Malik Willis being the quarterback for 2.5 quarters, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, what version of Jordan Love are you going to get?
That's what I'm saying. I think the same
yeah.
question applies.
Yeah, if they get the version of Jordan Love that doesn't face a pass rush, he's probably going to be pretty dangerous. Now the Bears' pass defense has been, like, I got some numbers in my column this morning, guys, that really kind of jump out at you. A bunch of different numbers, to be honest with you, including road playoff records for the quarterbacks in this postseason.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's pretty fascinating, Brad.
If
Took a lot of time.
If you take Aaron Rodgers out of the equation, all the other guys combined are 2-21, and obviously Rodgers isn't going to have to go on the road this week. They'll be at home, but the Bears pass defense at Soldier Field has been good. In fact, it's actually been really good. The opponent passer rating at Soldier Field is 77.1. Now, I think that's more a function of some of the quarterbacks that have come in. J.J. McCarthy, Spencer Rattler, Jackson Dart, Mason Rudolph. We mentioned Shedeur earlier, but how can they play against Love? We'll have to see, because he's cleared protocol, but obviously, as you guys know, he sat out the game yesterday at Minnesota with Matt LaFleur choosing to rest his marquee players.
He chose to rest. They play football in Chicago, Brad. I don't know if you heard that from Ben Johnson afterward. They don't rest players here. They play.
Well, but that's what's the bummer here is they were going for the number 2 seed, and they only got it because Nick Sirianni decided he was going to rest his starters in Philadelphia. And I wonder if part of Sirianni's decision-making was looking at the Bears game and saying, the chances of the Bears losing here are real remote, so I'll rest my guys. I don't know. I'm just kind of asking out loud if that went into his
it shouldn't have, because, you in your list, Jalen Hurts is 0-2 on the road. I mean, all these quarterbacks are losing on the road, but even Hurts, who has won a Super Bowl, 0-2 on the road.
Right. It just goes to show you the value of home field. And I talked to a couple different people I know around the league, and theories on it, and hey, get a load of this, and the one guy, we were talking about it at length, and then we started talking about the teams, and he went on to say, well, I'm looking at the AFC, and I think all the road teams could win in the AFC in Wild Card Weekend. So maybe it all goes out the window here. But he was looking at some of the specific teams, and to the larger point that, and this involves the Bears, like, this playoff field is wide open.
Yeah. Wide open.
Like, I don't know. The Seahawks looked nasty Saturday night in winning at San Francisco. They looked really good, like really, really good. And the thing that's happened is an offense that's been middle of the road at best running the football's run for almost 520 yards the last 3 weeks. So that's come to life for the Seahawks. But Sam Darnold, he led the NFL in turnovers this season with 20. So you can find something about every single team in the field and say, well, I'm not sure. Like, you look at the Broncos, top seed in the AFC. Well, call people around the league. You get mixed reviews on Bo Nix. The Broncos don't run the football great. So that's what makes this field fascinating. If the Bears can go out and be +2 in terms of takeaways and run the football, who's going to beat them?
What's your reaction to Jaquan Brisker saying the Bears were out-schemed? And is that just one of those things because he talks a lot, Bears coaches or maybe even teammates just kind of roll their eyes and say that's Jaquan?
Yeah, I think that's Jaquan. That's kind of how it's been. They were maybe they were outcoached, and I'm sure Dennis Allen would tell you that he needs to do a better job. Without even having to wait to talk to Dennis Allen or rewatch any of yesterday, I know that a bigger problem was they were out executed. Right? Like, let's be real. The Lions players with nothing to play for except pride were executing at a significantly higher level. And if Jaquan wants to say they didn't have help over the top because they were man, that's great. I mean, they've been bad in zone defense too. Like, they haven't been. It's been rough of late, and they've been living and dying with the takeaways. And the takeaways. Let's talk about the takeaways here for a second, guys. And Byard with a really nice play set up by T.J. Edwards, who made I had to see the replay of that a couple of times, how athletic that move was by TJ to get his hands on that ball way downfield to set up Byard for what he leads the NFL, finishes the season leading the NFL with 7 interceptions. Kudos to him. But they've got a grand total of 7 takeaways in the last 5 ball games. Right. And you feel like it's starting to dry up a little bit. And then 3 of those 7 were interceptions against Shador, who, I hate to, hammer the point home, but Shador's not invited to the playoffs, so they won't get to see him. So in those other ball games, they're just getting a single takeaway. How do you increase that? How do you firm things up? And we've been talking about the pass defense and what Brisker said and this and that. Last time Green Bay came in, they were running the ball pretty darn well. With who were they? It was like Emmanuel Wilson was hitting them straight up the gut. So we'll see. I think Ben will have a sharp plan for how he wants to get after the Packers. I think it'll be detailed. I think it'll be creative, and they've just got to find a way to execute their plan in the first half and not fall into a hole where the only chance they have to stay in the ball game is if they can come up with some red zone stops. Because if they don't get some red zone stops yesterday, if Dan Campbell isn't like, hey, let's try this in the red zone, the Lions would have run away with that ball game.
I'm curious, Brad, what does the schedule look like this week? I know Ben Johnson is available, not at Hallis Hall, but virtually today. What does the week look like? How will they prepare?
Yeah, the Bears are giving players off today.
Yeah.
So they'll be back to work Tuesday. So I would expect certainly a walkthrough on Tuesday would be my bet. Practice Wednesday, Thursday, and then you're going through a walkthrough on Friday into the game Saturday. They could, they'd probably even have a walkthrough at the hotel maybe or something Saturday morning. They haven't released a schedule yet, but I would guess walk through Tuesday, hit the practice field on Wednesday and Thursday, and hoping to to be sharper. Though one thing I have confidence in that I think the staff's done a really good job with this season is keeping the focus on what's right here, and that means 2 things. That means not looking ahead, which there's no danger of them looking ahead here, but it also means not focusing on the rearview mirror and what happened? Why didn't we do this? What this Lions game will be put to bed quickly. they'll have total attention to the Packers.